Yo, I'm Mark. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make this floating entertainment console. I'm currently cutting the lumber to measure using my DeWalt table saw. Now it's time for a little miter saw action. I'm giving a quick sand over with some 150 grit Tiger Shark sandpaper. This sandpaper is actually the best. I love it. Now it's time for some pocket holes. I set my Craig jig to 3/4 thickness for the material I'm using, and I am drilling some holes that's going to be used for screws later. Now it's time for a little assembly with some glue and some 1.5 inch Craig jig screws. I am measuring the space for the French cleat, which will hold the console to the wall. I will give a better example of that later on in the video. Now it's time to attach the back with some glue and some 1.5 inch Craig jig screws. I'm cleaning off some of the excess glue with a old rag and some sandpaper. Now I am adding the dividers from the drawers to the middle of the console. I like this view. It gives you a better visual of how I am creating the pocket holes and attaching them to the console. I feel this is a perfect time for a plug, so please subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when I post something. Also, follow me on Instagram @_Mark Roberts. Here's what we accomplished so far. We have the dividers, the back, the bottom. Looking good so far. The faces of the drawers are constructed of 2 pieces of lumber joint together. So right here I'm using my biscuit joiner to cut the holes so I can slide the biscuits in and use a little bit of glue to connect the pieces. Here's the example of the biscuits being placed in the biscuit hole, and I'm going to add a little glue and connect them. Right here I am constructing the drawers using some pocket holes. Now I am constructing the pull-out section of the right side of the drawer. Now it's time to pull out the iron and do a little bit of edge banding to cover up the seams of the plywood. I am trimming the excess edge banding using a piece of plywood and an X-Acto knife. I am currently installing the hardware for the drawers with these soft close hinges. pulling out the biscuit joiner again to connect the pieces of lumber for the top. Now it's time to do some sanding. Sand the edges so it's smooth. With a round over bit, I am giving the corners a round over so it's not as sharp. Now I am cutting the lumber for the French cleat. I am setting the table saw to a 45-degree angle. This needs to be very strong because it is holding the weight of the console.
It's made out of red oak. It has a drawer, file cabinets up here, shelving for your modems and your cable boxes, pull down drawer for your printers or other paperwork that you want to put in here. It has two outlets, one for USB, one without, so you can put lamps. Tell me what you think.